Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Something Saturday where we just talk about things we didn't get to talk about the rest of the week. And today we've got to talk about Star Wars. That's right, a brand new Star Wars trilogy may in fact be in the works, so let's break it down. It has come to my attention that a new Star Wars trilogy could in fact be happening. But how? And what is this? Is this the Rey trilogy? Is this supposed to be the new Jedi Order under Rey? Is that what this is supposed to be? Well, according to a lot of different sources, it is not. That storyline may in fact be completely canceled. And that's okay because a lot of people did find the entire Rey arc to be a little bit divisive. They didn't like it. You have people that absolutely loved it, and then you have people who just liked it. And then, of course, you do have a lot of people that also claim to have hated it. So, with that being said, it's not a bad idea for them to move on completely. This may not be following the Luke Skywalker saga at all. So, the Skywalker saga could, in fact, be completely over. And to be honest, I'm 1000% down with that. But what does this story entail? If it doesn't follow the Skywalkers, it doesn't follow Rey, what exactly will this trilogy look like? And that's sort of the big question here. But that is only a secondary question to what has actually been told to us so far. So we're going to break down what they've said, and then we're going to speculate where they could go from here. And let's have a little bit of fun with this, because if you're a Star Wars fan, this may be the best news we've had in a long time. This comes to us from Deadline, but it also has been talked about numerous other places. But we're going to talk about the Deadline article where it says Lucas has closed a deal with Simon Kinberg to develop a trilogy of Star Wars films. Kinberg will write and produce them with Lucasfilm chief Kathleen Kennedy. They've heard that this will comprise episodes 10 through 12 of the Skywalker saga that began with George Lucas's 1977 film. Insiders have disputed the intel that Kinberg will continue that storyline, instead saying that it will be a new saga. It alongside of the Star Wars projects with James Mangold, Sherman Obiad Chenoy, Tiger Waititi, and Donald Glover. This would actually make sure that if those projects are made, they would be alongside this or tell different stories, essentially, is what I get from that. But Lucasfilms and Disney are not commenting on this, and of course they're not. It goes on to say that Kinberg previously worked with Lucasfilm in co-creating with Dave Filoni and Carrie Beck the Emmy-nominated animated series Star Wars Rebels that ran for 4 seasons from 2014 to 2018. And he was also a consultant on The Force Awakens, the J.J. Abrams directed film that revived the franchise in 2015. So that I didn't really know that much about. I didn't know he was involved with The Force Awakens, but that makes a little bit of sense that they would then call him back. You call people back into what worked. And he has done a lot of films that have worked. He's also done some films that people are going to put up as a big question as to whether he is the right choice to give us a new Star Wars film or not. He has also been heavily involved, it goes on to say, in other franchises as writer and or producer. That includes a decade spent on the X-Men films and the Logan spin-off film that starred Hugh Jackman and was directed by Mangold. He was also producer of the first 2 Deadpool films and the executive producer of the 2024 blockbuster Deadpool and Wolverine. He produced the Ridley Scott directed The Martian and has scripted such films as Mr. and Mrs. Smith. He had co-wrote the film that launched the Sherlock Holmes franchise with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. He also produced the Kenneth Branagh Agatha Christie film trilogy that started with the murder on the Orient Express. In short, he's comfortable in the film franchise sphere, it claims. Well, this is actually a good thing because I like a lot of those films. I don't love all of those films, but I like a lot of those films. And I think this is important. It also tells us that he is producing Paramount's remake of The Running Man, which just went into production. He also is attached to produce Paramount's Star Trek movie directed by Toby Haynes and penned by Seth Graham Smith. This guy has his hands in a whole lot of things. And to have someone like that who's used to these big franchises come in and do this is exciting. Now, we saw in the article where they could be dealing with the Skywalker saga, but there's not a lot they could be talking about when it comes to the Skywalker saga. There's just not. The Skywalker saga pretty much concluded in a lot of people's minds after Luke Skywalker's death. Nobody wants them to move on with new Skywalker stories unless, of course, Luke is part of it. And with Mark Hamill being a lot older than is needed to play a younger Luke Skywalker, and the use of CGI isn't going to be for everyone. You're not going to want to see Luke Skywalker completely CGI'd walking around for 99% of the movie. It stands to reason that they are looking to go forward in the franchise. So the stories that I have heard about this, the rumors that I've heard, is that this will take place after the last trilogy of movies, after the sequel trilogy. And it might involve some of the characters that we saw previously. They might come back, but they're not going to be the main focus. The main focus is going to be something completely new. And there are a lot of places and things that they could do within the Star Wars universe that we haven't yet explored. The unknown regions is a really good area to explore in Star Wars. They could totally do that. They could go anywhere and any place in the Star Wars map and keep everybody interested. The one thing that I have heard is that it is quite possible that Grogu will be a part of this movie. Grogu, after all, is part of the Yoda species and lives over 900 years. So it's simple to say he is probably alive during this time, but the real question then would be, is he going to be a Mandalorian or is he going to be a Jedi? Since we know that before this movie hits, there is going to be the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which we have already seen some footage popping up of. We know that that's coming out, so we know that maybe we get the answers to all of that. And then we're going to have the answers as to what happens to Ahsoka and what happens to all these other characters in the things that we're seeing. So once we know what happens to all of them, it's going to be very easy to move on from them, to show us different things, to take us to different places along the galaxy, give us new heroes, new threats, and I am 1000% down for that. Give me a world in which the Jedi are back. And yes, some of them might be trained by Rey. And we might even get to see Rey Skywalker return in the movie. And whether or not you like her calling herself Rey Skywalker, the reason she picked that name is probably one of the simplest things of all time. The simplest reason that she would have picked the name is because she didn't want to call herself Palpatine after they had pretty much established that Palpatine was the bane of all existence in the galaxy. But the Skywalker family had taken her in, had no questions. They trained her to be a Jedi, and after she saves the world, to honor the Skywalker family that meant so much to her, she takes on their name. I'm perfectly fine with them calling her Rey Skywalker. I really don't mind it at all. Providing that they give us a good plot, providing that they give us a good story, I don't care whether she's in it or not. I know a lot of people really don't want her in, and then a lot of people still do. That's what I meant earlier on when I said that the films were a little bit divisive in terms of people either sort of liking them, really liking them, or really hating them. It's kind of one of those things, but that's film anyway when you think about it. You take what you like and you hold on to that, because the next project that comes out for that franchise may not be the best one. It may not be the one that's for you. but we can all agree that Star Wars should be far from dead. Lightsabers, space battles, and aliens are what Star Wars is all about. And the second that you give them a decent threat to fight, you give us a Jedi that's likable, that's someone that we can actually root for, everyone's going to be down for it. And I am 1,000% ready to see where the Star Wars franchise goes after the Skywalker family is gone. Because now we have a way forward. One of my major problems with the comic book continuation of the Star Wars franchise is that eventually we got Luke Skywalker's great whatever grandson or whatever, who wasn't even, as I understand it, a Jedi, but sort of a space pirate. And that whole story never really, I mean, it was good. I enjoyed certain elements of it. I'd be lying if I said I didn't, but overall, the story wasn't for me. I didn't like the fact that we did away with the Skywalker clan being Jedis. As long as the Skywalker clan is around, I do want them to be Jedis. I think that that was established, that they are sort of that family of Jedi. So I think that's important. But if we're moving past them as we have now, I think that it is sort of a situation where, yes, the sky is the limit. We can literally take them anywhere we want. The new hero can be fighting any number of threats across the galaxy, and for the first time, it doesn't have to be the Empire or the Empire's newly built First Order. It doesn't have to be any of that, and I think that's going to be fun. This movie's announcement is exciting because while I know we will probably get a continuation of sorts in terms of what comes next, I think it's going to be fun to see it move forward. And we don't know anything about the characters, the places that they'll visit, or anything like that so far. But here's looking at a fresh start for Star Wars, getting us to new planets with new aliens, with new Jedis, with new villains. And yes, I love this idea. I love this concept. I couldn't wait to tell you guys about it when I heard it, but I wanted to make sure that I had heard it from a number of different sources. First, because this is something we've talked about before. The Rey movie was supposed to happen. This one was supposed to happen. That one was supposed to happen. Star Wars has not had the best track record in terms of keeping their movies coming. They oftentimes are canceling projects or doing this. And I don't blame them. If the project isn't going to be the absolute best that you can give the audience, then you do want to do that. I think the problem is when they start telling us about a trilogy or a new movie before they actually have it ready. And in this case, here's hoping that this one goes through. And here's hoping that even if they follow the Skywalkers a little bit or they have Rey in it, that we do get to see the new characters take the reins, take over, and just go forward from there with all new characters, with all new adventures, and just take us someplace fun. But that is where I'm going to leave it off to you guys. I want to know what you guys think about this. Are you excited for a brand new Star Wars project coming out? Do you think that this is going to get canceled like all the rest of them have been? And do you think that them kind of stepping away from the Skywalkers is going to be a good thing? Or do you think that Star Wars is the Skywalkers and they should always kind of stay close to that? As always, we want to know what you guys think, so make sure you are leaving us that comment in the comment box below, letting us know what you think. Also, don't forget to share this video with all of your friends. They're going to want to be a part of the conversation as well. Then make sure you hit that like button. It's free. It helps the channel. We really do appreciate it. Then Miko says we need more subscribers, and look at this face. You don't want to disappoint Miko, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell while you're down there so you don't miss a single video we do. And then, friends, at the end of the day, I know it, you know it, and Miko knows it. Fandom is family.